everybody. We're going to get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Township of Lopatcong, the Planning Board meeting, reorganization and regular meeting, January 24th, 2018. If everyone would bow their heads for a moment of silence. Okay, we'll stand for the oath of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws in 1975. By advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. This time I'm going to call the roll. Members Correa.
Present.
Fishback.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Mayor Mengucci.
Here.
Chesky.
Yes.
Pryor.
Here.
Schneider. Here. Van Vliet.
Here.
Weeks.
Here.
Steinhardt. Here. Clymer.
Here.
Okay, so as you can see, we're going to swear in the following people that are listed on your agenda. If you'll all please stand, and you do have your oath of office. So we're going to do it in unison. Can I have your picture? Okay, there you go. Okay. I say your name, and we'll read this together. Do you solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all duties of the office of the Planning Board, according to the best of my ability, so help me God. So down on the lower right-hand side, you'll see some lines there. You'll sign your name on the top line and fill in your address, and then I'll collect those at the end of the meeting. All right, so our next order of business is to call for nominations for the chairman of the board. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Gary Van Vliet.
I'll second that nomination.
I'd like to nominate Eric Johnson.
Okay. Anyone want to second that nomination?
I do.
Okay. All right, I'm going to, is there any further nominations? Okay, then I'm going to close nominations, and I'm going to call for a vote. This will be for Chairman Gary Van Vliet. Members Correa.
To vote for Gary for chair. Are you voting yes or no?
Okay. I wasn't sure what my count. No.
Fishback.
Yes for Gary.
Johnson.
No.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes.
Chesky.
No.
Pryor.
Yes.
Schneider.
No.
Van Vliet.
Yes.
Weeks.
Yes.
Steinhardt.
Yes.
Clymer.
Yes.
Okay, well, the majority is has already cast their vote yes for Gary Van Vliet, so there is no reason to move on to Mr. Johnson. So at this time, I'm going to transfer everything over to you, Chairman Van Vliet.
Okay.
Okay, at this time we will be having nominations for the office of Vice Chairman.
I nominate Tom.
Was there a second? Roll call that, please. Oh, I mean, sorry, any further nominations?
Is that Tom Fishback?
Yes, Tom Fishman.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Any further nominations? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Yes. Members Korea,
Yes.
Johnson,
No.
Orchesky,
Yes.
Pryor,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Weeks,
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci,
Yes.
Mr. Fishback,
Yes.
Chairman Van Vliet,
Yes.
Steinhardt,
Yes.
and Clymer.
Yes.
Okay, that motion's carried.
Shall we move him up to vice chair?
Yeah, Tom, if you would like, you can move up to the dais at this point. You can sit here in my spot, and I'll move down. Musical chairs here today.
Okay, moving on. Congratulations. Moving on to Resolution 1801, approving the annual meeting calendar, official newspapers, the Star Ledger, the Star Gazette, and the Express Times. Do you want to do these en masse or each one individually?
Just one question on the meeting
Yes.
calendar. I could. That last year we had to move a meeting because of Thanksgiving, I guess. Are we all square on that this year?
I believe so. It's November 28th, so this year it was the 29th.
Do we know what day Thanksgiving is?
When-
It's 22nd. It's as early as
Probably
it can be.
following week.
Yep.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions on the calendar? Hearing none, I'll call those. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion's carried. Next resolution is to appoint an attorney. We had only 2 submissions on the RFPs, so we have Murphy McKinnon PC, Riverdale, New Jersey, and William Edelson LLC, Phillipsburg, New Jersey. Do I hear a motion?
I move to nominate Murphy and McKeon.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I have a question, Mr.
Question?
Chairman. Would the board might want to consider an extension to get a proposal in from Tony? I know his rates are lower. He's historically been 125 per hour and 250 per meeting. And I know the zoning board has extended him to get his letter in. I don't know if the board would consider wanting to do a 1-month extension to have a 3rd proposal in, unless the board is unhappy with Tony's work.
I don't think we're down to, these are the only 2 people that responded to the RFP. Why didn't Tony respond?
I believe in the past he didn't have to because there was nobody else in. I talked to Tony and he was under the impression that there was no point to submit a proposal because the board had another attorney in mind. I don't know how he got that impression because the board certainly didn't discuss it as far as I'm aware. But if we're looking at a budget standpoint, his numbers were the best. We could look at it, last year he was 125 and 250.
I don't think that,
It makes no sense at all. He's already, the prices are out there. He didn't confirm. I'm not interested in extending it.
Tony was extended from the zoning board as well, right?
Like the zoning board doesn't matter here.
No, I know, but I want to just make sure
I think it was a month.
that for the taxpayer of the town, I think it's our responsibility to make sure we are fiscally responsible. I would not know why Tony, if there's have anybody else spoken to Tony in the last weeks?
It was advertised. I think we have responsibility to the town to hire attorneys who know the rules and conform to this. I'm not interested.
I was
We have
on
a
the
motion,
impression
Chairman, please.
yes.
My only concern would be for the extension is that these numbers are out there. and they're public. So that would be my concern, to be, to make it a fair playing field. Normally, these numbers are not published, so now these numbers are out there. That's actually my
Do we
concern.
know anything about these attorneys? I mean, I'm voting on 2 people which I've never seen.
Did you come in and read the material? And
I can speak up about Mr. Bryce. There's a motion on the floor to approve him. Yes, I work with his firm in a town that I represent in Morris County, one that I've been in for about 17 years. His firm does a very, very good job in handling that particular municipality, all the issues that confront that municipality, including land use issues, zoning issues, court issues, going to court to enforce the ordinance. So he's a known quantity to me, and I think he would be a good choice for this
I would
board.
just, for the record, state that our council stated on more than one occasion that they want to stay with their current attorney, for one of the reasons being that the attorney knows all the ins and outs, and changing it would be detrimental to the town. So we're doing exactly the opposite on the planning board. And I furthermore would like to say for the record that we have an attorney who has an interest, and his rates are lower than what we currently having people applying for. And I would grant Tony an extension, and if you guys are not willing to, then it's up to you. But I think it's responsible to save, or be fiscally responsible and save the taxpayer some money.
I'll just add that I happen to know Dave Rutenberg. He's one of the partners at Murphy & McKee, and I've known Dave for probably 25 years. I have a lot of respect for him. And they mentioned one of their clients is Parsa. That was my client for many years. A number of their attorneys substituted him for him there. They were all capable, and that's my reason.
This is the local one in Phillipsburg, correct?
No.
Oh, this is the one.
Riverdale.
Riverdale, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you want to speak?
Thank you. I know Tony had spoke with you, Gary, and was it asking for an extension a couple of weeks ago, or last week or something, before this meeting began?
2 weeks ago, two or 3 weeks ago, Tony contacted me, but I wasn't a member of the board at that point, and I had no power to say if it would be an extension or a non-extension, so.
And I guess the conversation from what he was saying is that you had told him don't bother because the board's not going to extend it, and that you already had another attorney in mind. So is that how the conversation went with Tony?
Well, basically, no, that's not the way it went.
Okay, that's how it was relayed to me, so.
Okay, as I say, the conversation basically was, he wanted to know what his situation was. I asked him why he did not put in an RFP. He indicated it might have been an oversight by his secretary or something like that. But I'm kind of hesitant to make an extension here because we have some heavy-duty stuff coming up here. Next month, we're supposed to be starting here an application for the Piazza track. We have a new person coming in for the Ingersoll Rand property, which is going to require a re-evaluation of everything that's gone on before. So we're coming up to speed with everything. I don't want to be left hanging here with someone that may last 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then be gone. And I really don't want to delay this at all to get up to speed and on board with this.
Does it not make them extra set to have somebody here who was here before? Somebody who knows the ins and outs, knows the Piazza track, knows the...
Well, he didn't know enough to submit a proposal, so...
As I say, I mean, it's back to me. It was his own fault for not making the application, so.
Sorry, just one more thing, Brian. I would hope that that's not how the conversation went, because, you know, Mr. Scazzaro is specifically saying that you had said not to bother because you had another attorney in mind. I would hope that that wasn't the case, that the conversation didn't go that way, but why Mr. Scazzaro would tell a bold-faced lie, that's pretty, that would be unbelievable if he did.
I'm sorry you got that impression, but as I say, I told him straight out that not being a member of the board at the time when he called me, I believe it was either first week of January, last week of December, one of the two. And I've gone with this, who took with Tony before, so. It's,
Okay, that's what he had said, so that would be very sad if that were how the
Now,
conversation went.
I'm not sure what he did with the Board of Adjustment, but they already hire him, or are they still in limbo with it?
I don't know, I didn't ask about them, I just asked about the conversation regarding the planning board, and he said that's how the conversation went.
Okay.
I just understood they granted an extension. That's how I understood.
So they really haven't taken any action on them yet, then?
I don't even know when their meeting is, to be honest with you. I don't go to those meetings.
Gary, I'd like to go.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna cut in here. I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't know anybody but, Tony. All right, so I did my little bit of research, all right? And I came up with Bryce myself, and here's why. He is the only one that gave us a breakdown that we know exactly, through the thick, through the thin, through the worst, through the best, we know exactly what he's gonna charge us. The rest left us high and dry and said, oh, here we are, run with us. So that's why I think Bryce deserves it. Tony did not put it in. I don't know why, but let's not even accept that, because I couldn't make a decision on that. I make a decision on what I'm handed, okay, and that's the way I think it has to happen. And Bryce gave us exactly the cut and dry answers, so we can run and make a budget for the future. All right, so to me, it wasn't even a decision. It had to be a tough decision. All right, not looking at what you're saying there, I'm looking at this paper, what I was handed. And that's why I will vote that way.
Does anybody know the other attorney? Because I do recognize their name and have a look, just a little bit about it, but I never heard of the other name before, so just putting out, does anybody know anything about the other one, the local one from Phillipsburg?
Bill Otterson? No. I heard the name, but I don't know.
Yeah, same here, I've heard the name.
Yeah.
Bill, I believe Bill was the planning board attorney in Greenwich for a number of years.
That could be where I've heard his name, possibly.
Sharon, I would like to add that there's an RFP process, so if Tony knew about it, he's an attorney, so he would know that, so I don't think it'll be fair to grant an extension to those who provided about what was supposed to.
Thank you. Do you want to make a motion to vote on it, or?
Well, I made the motion.
I have a motion and a second.
Have a vote.
Okay.
That's what I
Do
think
we
that's
have a
it.
second on that?
Yeah, we do. You
I don't have any other discussion,
Mayor McGinty second.
so.
No further discussion, I'll call for a roll call.
Okay, this is to approve Murphy, James Bryce as the attorney for the board. Members Correa,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Rucheski,
Yes.
Pryor,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Weeks,
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Fishback,
Yes.
Chairman Van Vliet,
Yes.
Steinhardt,
Yes.
and Kleiner. Okay.
Moving on, to appoint a planner. The only person to apply was Gregorio Plant Land Design LLC, Philadelphia, and George Ritter, your current planner, will be our planner. We'll do the motions. Do I hear a motion to appoint him?
I make a motion.
A second.
Do I hear a second? Roll
second.
call, Beth, please.
Okay, members Correa,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Rucheski,
Yes.
Pryor,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Weeks,
Yes.
Mayor Mangucci,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Fishback,
Yes.
Chairman Van Vliet,
Yes.
Steinhardt,
Yes.
Kleiner.
Okay, the next position that we'll be appointing is the engineer. The only one to make the application, Mazer Consulting, PA, Hampton, New Jersey, and Mr. Paul Sturbins, our longtime engineer, will be the engineer for the board.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second. Any objections?
I don't have any objections. Unless I read the email wrong, was there another one and they just withdrew?
For engineer? I have no idea.
I'm going by, I thought I saw another name listed. I had no idea. I didn't recognize it, but it's possible that they withdrew.
No.
I mean, I support Mazer. I think they've done a
No,
great
it's
job.
on
but
there.
I
Your
thought I saw-
analysis shows
It's
two engineers.
which I think at one time was
CP
Renzi
Professionals, I think, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Oh. So you do have to.
You do have to, yes.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them,
Joe, you know them?
yes.
So backing up, we have the motion for Mazer.
We have a
You already
second.
made that?
I'll second it.
Already
No, I
seconded.
have a second.
Okay.
Roll call, Beth, please.
Okay. Members Korea,
Yes?
Johnson,
Yes.
Orchesky,
Yes.
Pryor,
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Weeks,
Yes.
Mayor Menducci.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Fishback.
Yes.
Chairman Van Vliet,
Yes.
Steinhardt, Clymer.
Thank you very much. We're working on those again.
All right, the last resolution we're looking at is Resolution 1805 to adopt Robert's Rules of Order as a basic guide for fair and orderly procedures in the meeting. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
To adopt that. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Was that you, Jim, that seconded?
That was
Thank
me.
you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
You were late? Okay. Any abstentions? None? We appoint Robert Rules of Orders as a basic guide. I think we've had some problems in the past with probably one of the areas with the early public comment on agenda items here. And as I've explained several times before to the audience, we're not really in a position to do that because in this board, we allow cross-examination of witnesses as they present their testimony. Even we don't know exactly what is listed in the agenda of the people, what they're going to present until, so I didn't think it was ever fair for the audience to have to comment at that point and then have no other further comment port going on. So as long as we, are adopting this with the understanding it's a basic guide that we're not going to hammer that,
Yeah, definitely agree.
that's it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, after that, we're moving on to old business.
One thing, and
Yes.
I know it's only a formality, but I think, and I'm not sure if I'm right, but I think we have to reappoint Beth every year.
No, I'm under a contract.
She has the 5-year contract. I checked it
Even though
today.
she has a contract, I think we have to, on a yearly basis, reappoint.
I think we spent probably an hour on that 2 years ago, and
We don't?
We don't, she has the 5-year contract.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to, excuse me, old business, to approve the minutes of the November 29th, 2017 meeting. Everyone received a copy of that or got to read it? Is there any additions, corrections, comments on it?
I had a minor change I wanted to make, and I'll try to get the page number right here. Just give me a second. Just on page, the top of page 18, there's just 2 lines between one resident comment and one Mr. Snyder comment. They appear accurate to me, but I think a derogatory comment, made by the public is not appropriate to be put into the meeting minutes, and, I'm going to make a suggestion that those 2 lines get removed. That's my only comment. Everything else looked good.
I have one comment as well. There is a point in there where a hand gesture has been added into the minutes, and I feel that's inappropriate as well. You're going to put hand gestures, and you're going to have to put somebody sneezes, somebody rolls their eyes, somebody stands up. So, I think it's inappropriate to have a hand gesture in the minutes.
What page is that, Donna?
I don't know because I couldn't copy it at home.
Well,
Sorry.
I believe it was at a point where
Oh, page 11.
I think Fitzsimmons was trying to, I think he was recognizing you, that you raised your hand for some reason, but I'd have to go through it
Yeah,
every page.
I know, and I didn't, it just said, Member Schneider raises her hand, so I wasn't...
Yeah, because you were acknowledging something, whatever they were talking about, you were making an acknowledgement that you were included or something to that effect.
Yeah, and I don't.
So,
Donna,
I
I'll
think-
agree with you, because I think gestures could be misinterpreted many different ways. So I'll support you on that one as well.
Well, I have to have the page and where it's at,
Page
exactly.
11.
11?
So you- Pardon me?
Page 11.
Oh, page 11? Okay.
Yeah, Eric has a copy.
Do you want to see it? Here.
Do you want to see it back?
Oh, no, I can look at it right here.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve those meeting minutes with those two changes.
Here, a second on it?
I second it.
Okay, roll call?
I'm just going to call members Schneider and Johnson because they were the only ones that are here tonight that, participated in the meeting. Okay? Or Carlos, I'm sorry, you too.
You want?
So the three of you, all in favor then, the three of you?
Yeah,
With
yes.
those
Yeah,
corrections?
with those two corrections,
Sure.
yes.
With the two corrections.
No dissensions? No abstentions? Minutes are approved.
vote ever.
Minutes are approved with those comments being redacted from the
Yeah, thank you.
minutes. All right, that was all the old business we have. We're moving on to new business. This concerns Block 116, Lot 26-0.01, 27, 27.02, and 28. This is Autumn Ridge, the Piazza track. And I will defer to Paul Sturbins to give us a rundown on what we're doing here.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This particular application actually came in back in November before the ordinance was adopted to permit the uses on this tract. And if you may recall, this is a tract where there's going to be multifamily housing built, a combination of market rate units as well as age-restricted units. Up to 200 units, in fact, would be built on this site as a result of the ordinance. As a result of the fact that the ordinance was not in effect at the time that the submission came in, the submission really was held in abeyance. Since that time, however, the ordinance has been adopted. It was adopted in December, so the clock started ticking. We have 45 days to evaluate for completeness once the clock starts ticking at this point. So we really need to look at the completeness of this application tonight, since we're not meeting until February 28th after tonight. The applicant, by the way, is making quite a few changes to the plans right now. We did have an opportunity to look at the application from a completeness perspective, and there are layout changes. There's actually going to be a subdivision now associated with the application. So the documents that Beth has in her office are going to be discarded in their entirety. In fact, I was sending an email to Mr. Gardner tonight before the meeting started to let him know that. We made that decision today. So we will be getting new documents in on or before February 7th. In the event, going back to the completeness, we need to take action on the completeness. Completeness is really a measure as to whether or not the board has enough information to be able to evaluate the application from a technical perspective and to conduct a public hearing. One of the things in Lopatcong Township that you have to have in order to be deemed complete is a Highlands consistency determination. We have a petition that was approved by the Highlands Council several years ago, and that petition is for the entire municipality. And we have certain planning initiatives that come out of that particular petition that was approved. And until those planning initiatives are addressed, the Highlands Council requires us to ensure that applicants have these consistency determinations approved by the Highlands Council, by the technical staff in the Highlands Council, unless the application is exempt. This application is not exempt, it does not qualify, so it needs a consistency determination. That consistency determination has not been issued by the staff. They're still working on it right now. So for that reason alone, the board should deem the application to be incomplete. So,
Paul, I think when you add in the fact that we don't have plans, it's an easy call.
Yeah.
that's correct. Whatever's on file right now is going to be, is moot at this point, because the plans are being completely changed, and all new plans are going to be filed in early February. So that's my recommendation, to deem the application to be incomplete tonight. I think there is another issue here. The applicant, I believe, noticed for tonight's meeting, and the board has to make a determination if you want to carry that notice or if you want to make the applicant renotice. Now, the applicant is intending on filing a subdivision application. I don't believe that's part of their notice right now, so that might be grounds for perhaps having them renotice at this point, but that's really your call.
We don't have an attorney here tonight. I would err on the side of caution myself.
Does that buy us more time?
Actually, we deem it incomplete because I think they're going to have a total resubmission since they got a subdivision now from what they proposed. I realize that this is a court agreed to zoning change. I guess the council has already made that zoning change. Have you signed the agreement with the court on this?
I believe we have.
Yeah, I think so.
And I believe the planning board reviewed it at one of the latter meetings you had last year, if I'm correct.
You know what, I should back up on that. The whole thing doesn't get executed until the court agrees
Right.
to it, and honestly, I'm not certain that's...
Okay, well, I would think we should deem it incomplete, and then I believe they should renotice all at the same time. Too many variables and not knowing what's going on as far as the subdivision and everything else is concerned, so.
I would agree.
Will someone make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We need two different motions, or do you want to have a single one, Paul?
I would do two separate ones.
Two separate ones? Okay, how about a motion to deem it incomplete?
I can make that motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, Beth, please.
Yes, members Korea,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Orchesky,
Yes.
Pryor,
Yes.
Schneider,
Yes.
Weeks,
Yes.
Mayor Mengucci.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Fishback.
Yes.
Chairman Van Vliet.
Yes. Have another motion to have them renotice the property owners of what's occurring.
I'd like to make a motion that we ask them to renotice.
Okay, do I hear a second?
A second.
Roll call, Beth, please.
Yes. Members Korea.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Orchesky.
Yes.
Yes.
Pryor. Schneider.
Yes.
Weeks. Mayor Mengucci.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Fishback.
Yes.
Chairman Van Vliet.
Yes. Okay, any further new business that we had tonight,
Yeah.
Paul? Anything you had?
Actually, I just have one issue for you, and Adam and I have been talking to other boards about this. There's a requirement under our new stormwater permit that the board members have to receive stormwater training. The DEP has put together a training tool on its website for that. It's a video, it's about 45 minutes in length, and I think the best way to do it, and it would allow the board secretary to record all the members that are here present and looking at the video or viewing the video, would be for us to bring a projector in here and have it viewed at a future meeting. Obviously, one that wouldn't have a lot of business at it. And I know there's some board members that have expressed interest in viewing it at home on their own computer. The only problem is that the DEP has not created a certification methodology,
Oh, okay.
and we would have to create our own certification methodology to have a record that the member actually took the training.
Okay.
So it seems to me the easier thing to do would be to have it presented here to the board as a whole, and Beth would be able to record it in the minutes for, so that we have a record of it, because we do get audited under these stormwater permits, and we have to produce records to show that we're complying with the permit.
Okay.
So if that's okay, then we'll work with Beth. Adam and I will arrange to have some sort of projector here in the future to use that training tool for you.
Very good. Any comments on that or objections to it? None whatsoever?
Do we want to start that
I think we
meeting
would.
a little earlier or something like that, like a 6:30 meeting or something like that, just to try to get it? And I'm just throwing that out there, I don't know.
Well, how long do we have to get that done? Is there a
We're up to the
timeframe?
middle of the year, so it's not something that we have to do necessarily in February. I guess we'll look at the agenda, we'll see if Autumn Ridge is here for a hearing in February. If that's in fact the case, we wouldn't do the training in February, but if the agenda is empty, then perhaps that's the target night.
Target
for
date,
February 20th.
yes. Regular meeting night, regular time,
Right.
about 45 minutes, we'd still be out of here relatively early. Okay? So without objection, we'll, Beth, you'll make arrangements for that? Walt?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, at this point,
Mr. Chairman,
board,
I
if
may
there's
have
any...
two quick questions.
Sure.
Actually, I think the best person to ask is Joe, because he's the most familiar with it. The first question is, did council set into place the plan requirement for the reduced set for the future submissions on some of these site applications?
I think we did, right?
No, Paul was supposed to, you were going to meet with Katrina.
But Katrina and I never got together during the holidays due to our schedule. That's an outstanding item.
Okay.
I did hear it was
Together.
discussed, there were no objections, and I didn't realize we didn't get it done.
Yeah.
Will that require us to change our
Yes.
each checklist and everything like that, coming down to reduce the size of the plans? And what are you proposing to go to 11 by 17 or something?
I
as
think
opposed to-
the sample that we had actually gave them the option. It just had to be smaller than, I think it was like 17 by 24. So it could be 11 by
That's
17, but it could be
standard
7.
sheet size.
But they had the option as long as it was reduced.
Okay.
That was my first question. And the second one is just to get the planning board a quick update on the Ingersoll Rand project. I think there was a developer change that happened with that, and I just wanted to catch myself up and maybe the whole board up on what happened with that.
You know,
Bridge development. It is that. Bridge.
yeah, but there's negotiations going on between Bridge and Corral, which I can't count. It's not, as far as I understand, they have not closed yet.
Okay.
That's what I know. Bridge has come in, announced their intention, but as far as I know, no one has closed. And Jim, you sat in on that.
Most of my knowledge.
Okay, and that, would that have the potential to affect our preliminary site plan approval that we gave them? Just the potential.
I believe it would.
It would?
might.
It might, yeah. Okay, that's all I was curious about. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it depends on how they approach it, and we don't know that yet.
All right, so that could, all right. Thank you, Joe.
Well, they've reduced the number of pad sites, so that changed.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, the general, as far as the preliminary, it's pretty much like they presented for the site in Lopatcong. He has a general development plan. That's why I don't want to give an opinion.
I understand.
He has an approved general development plan, he has preliminary approval on the pad site. I imagine there's going to be changes on the P-Burke side, I don't know for sure. What we saw looked a lot, to me, sketch, you know, what we saw for the pad site. So I think it's best to just assume he'll come in and tell us, but that won't happen until they close.
The key issue is there's a very specific type of warehouse that is in the approval. It's a high cube warehouse, which is a very automated warehouse that has a lot less employees than the typical warehouse. So if Bridge were to come back and propose some other type of warehousing here that has more employees, which would lead to more vehicular trips, that would be something that would require an amended approval process before the board. So we'll see what happens.
So, yeah, so it's still ongoing, still in process.
If I remember, there were 3 types of warehouses that were explained to us at that meeting, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And they all had different levels of employee impact. This was the least.
Correct.
If I'm correct.
Right, and we were very specific that this approval was only for
For that
For the
type.
high cube
Exactly.
type of a warehouse, so
Yep,
a lot of factors have changed.
yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further comment from the board?
I just wanted to take the time, Chairman, to congratulate you and Mr. Fishback on your appointments tonight. My thanks to Brian and Mr. Clymer and Ms. Steinhardt. Certainly your exuberance of youth will be tempered by the age up here, so it's nice to see somebody young getting involved. So My thanks to all of you. Obviously, this township goes nowhere without its volunteers. Eric, thank you for your time up here as chairman. So we move forward. We do have some big things coming. I think it's an exciting time for Lopatcong, and we need to move forward as best we can with everybody's input. So my congratulations to everybody, and thank you.
Thank you.
You know, while you're at it, then I would like to second everything you said, Jim, but I also would like to say thanks to members which are not here anymore. Seeing that my friend Gary Wolf is not here anymore, and even though he's not here, I would like to publicly thank him for his service. Always inspiring. All right, thanks.
Thank you. No further comments. I'll open it up for public comment. If there's any. Seeing none, we'll move on to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?